Hey, baby on set.
Baby on set.
Just right on the table on the spinning record.
As you spin.
Hello, buddy.
I'm your dad. I'm your dad.
What? I'm just the host. Yeah.
Makes sense. You ready to do this?
I'm ready to do this. Welcome to Mike on Much. I'm your host, Mike Veerman, and I'm here with my friend and trusted producer, Max Kerman. We're also here with our pop culture aficionado, Shane Christian Cunningham.
Testing, testing.
Today on the show, this is a big one, this is a good one. I'm super excited because I personally am a big Doctor Who fan. I'm a fan of science fiction in general. Today on the show, our main feature guest is Jodie Whittaker, who is the Doctor. Iconic role. Doctor Who, you got it. And later on in the dessert, Jakob Tremblay?
Tremblay?
Yeah.
It's a Jakob Tremblay impersonator.
Okay.
And this child, it's a girl.
Okay.
Yeah.
She's very good.
Okay.
Oh, that's a good tease. So if you're here just because you're a Doctor Who fan and you're excited about Jodie Whittaker, stick around for the Jakob Tremblay impersonator.
Yeah.
Who is a girl, much like the Doctor Who, Jodie Whittaker.
Good time.
Guys,
How
you been doing?
Well, first of all, we just got a text message because I posted a photo from set.
Yes.
And we have a friend who does music recording for a living.
That's right.
And he said these mics are facing the wrong way.
So Michael Kier wrote in because he saw an Insta story you posted, and he says, "Hey man, weird note, but those mics don't work that way." He goes, "I know they're props."
How do they work?
I don't know. Like this, I guess, you know, if you saw those old-time radio announcers back from the 50s.
That's how they talk. Yeah,
that's how they talk.
You should do the rest of the show like that.
Just like this.
But I do find you talk into the mic, actually.
I end up being drawn to it, prop or not.
Doctor Who sci-fi show. You fall asleep to Star Trek every night, and it's kind of like your comfort blankie.
I do. I'm a huge Star Trek fan, and so every night I fall asleep to an episode.
What is it about Star Trek or sci-fi that makes you feel like, you know, you're under, you get your little teddy bear? What?
Hum of the ship.
The hum of the ship of the Enterprise is what helps me sleep, for sure.
What's that ship called?
It's called the Enterprise.
Oh.
Yeah.
Shit, I don't watch that.
But science fiction, the reason I love science fiction so much is because ever since I was a kid, I was just really drawn to the idea that in science fiction you can like discuss big ideas and maybe current events, but in a way that's sort of like masked in like the extraordinary.
Sure.
And the thing I love about Star Trek is it's like they basically deal with like nonviolent conflict resolution. So you get some crazy story, but it's like you have this sort of diplomatic way to get out of like a crisis. And I enjoy spending that hour sort of getting into this conundrum and then getting out of it. And I've
They
always
never
loved
kill
science fiction.
people in that show?
People do die, but it's always a last resort, you know?
But it makes you feel kind of like at ease.
It makes me feel comfortable. I just like it. I like spending time with the crews of the Enterprise and otherwise in the Star Trek universe. And now Doctor Who. Huge Doctor Who fan.
Doctor Who. Because I think about this idea too, because I fall asleep to podcasts. That's the only way I can fall asleep. And when I'm on planes, I really don't like turbulence. This is like a thing of mine that like I have.
You don't like turbulence in your life whatsoever.
I don't like turbulence in my life, generally speaking. That's true too. But on planes, do you guys deal with turbulence okay?
Horrible.
I'm good.
Biggest fear of it.
See, but the thing is we have to fly a lot. So I've actually sort of developed a bunch of sort of tricks to help me get through the turbulence, like in the moment. One of them is I just imagine Barack Obama talking to me, like just saying that, like, Max, everything's gonna be okay.
That was your imitation for the old-timey.
Hey, Maxie boy.
Maxie, this is Barack Obama.
This is Barack Obama reporting live from New York City. I literally just think about how many flights Barack Obama must have taken in his life and how I don't need to be scared. Sometimes I think about the flight attendants who, like, I talked to one flight attendant who literally says the turbulence is the best thing for him because he doesn't have to work anymore and he can just go back and have a nap. It's literally just a break for him, and it knocks him right out. Sometimes I think, and this is like very kind of fucked up and convoluted, but sometimes I think I'm like, Max, just imagine you were fleeing from a war-torn country and you had just been through like the worst trauma in your life. Any amount of turbulence would be like a piece of cake to deal with. So get over yourself. So that's like the way I sort of like put things in perspective. It kind of goes from Barack Obama to thinking about the flight attendants, and if it's particularly bad, then I think about fleeing a war-torn country.
What you're talking about really is like when you're in like sort of a situation where you don't want to think about the current circumstances, it's like what can distract you? What's your coping mechanism? And that's the thing about falling asleep to something like Star Trek is it's like my brain's always going a million miles a minute. And ever since I was a kid, I had a TV in my room. So I never really just like lay down and turn the lights off and then eventually fall asleep because the wheels are gonna spin, you know? And I don't know if you guys have this as well.
Of course.
So it's like if my brain can focus on whatever the plot of that Star Trek episode is, even if it's 10 minutes, it's like my brain stops thinking about what's going on in my everyday life.
Yeah.
I kind of focus on that and then I'm out.
Shane, what do you do to deal with that anxiety on the
I like to think that I'm gonna be dead one day. No, like one day I'm like, oh, this doesn't matter. I'm gonna be dead one day. And there's
that's a
something
fact.
comforting about that.
Right. But you don't want to go before your time.
Of course not. No, I'm scared of death, but so it's a fear and a comfort at the same time.
Do you ever, like, when it gets so bad, you're like, oh, man, this is it?
Yeah, like feel my hand right now. Like just talking about
Oh, you're
turbulence.
so sweaty.
I get so nervous thinking about being on a plane. My mom's the same way. It's like her biggest fear. But yeah, death is relief to me. That's the point.
Yeah,
okay?
that's the soundbite for the promo.
And I watch Sopranos to go to sleep.
Oh, okay.
And you know they're always getting whacked in that show.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, I can get whacked at any time. Nothing would matter.
Like, here's the thing. We're all relatively young, so we don't think about it. I never think about it. But it's like, can you even picture a time when you're old and about to die?
I think about it all the time. How scared I'm gonna be when I'm 60. Because I'm like, could be today.
Is that
I could
old?
have a heart attack.
60?
60?
Well, that's the age when you can have a heart attack. Right now, I'm like, I'm not at heart attack age yet, right?
I was actually in really bad turbulence once, like 5 years ago. And I remember thinking, man, this plane could go down. And I had the thought, I go, if this plane goes down, what would I be disappointed I didn't do? And I actually started thinking about that, and I was like, I need to make some changes. And I actually had that moment in the 20 minutes of turbulence. If you guys were on a plane and it was going down, what would be the one thing you guys would have that you would be like, I wish I did that, or if I get out of this situation, I'm gonna rectify.
I kind of do whatever I want all the
You're
time.
living a good life.
I'm living a good life.
Yeah.
But sometimes I think about, like, what would be the almost famous scene where you say something or you blurt something out to the people around you.
Yeah.
I'm gay.
Yeah, like that kind of thing. What would be the final thing you'd shout out or do?
It's like your final declaration
yeah, what would be
as
your
you're
final
about
declaration?
to die. Not about, who cares about us? What would you yell out?
I
Yeah,
don't know if I'd
Max.
yell out anything. Do you think you'd just go for a makeout or something with the person next to you?
I hope it's my wife. I know she subscribes to Crave.
Is it cheating though if you're
about to crash?
Yeah, if the plane.
Yeah, would you like, okay, let's say that you think the plane's gonna crash. The pilot's like, we're going down, this is it, guys, make your peace with God. And then you're beside, I don't know why this pilot's declaring that, but this weird pilot on this plane. And then
He's like, oh, Jones.
you're sitting next to somebody, and then you guys decide, you know what, fuck it, we're gonna die. You make
Yeah.
out, then the plane evens out. Do you tell your wife?
Yeah.
You'd make her jealous? Jealousy trap?
No. No, I changed my mind. No, I don't tell. Well, if she says she's not going to tell, I'm not going to tell.
Let's say she finds out. Are you in major trouble, or is there like a level of understanding because of the
No, I'm in
circumstances?
big trouble.
I'm in big trouble.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, she's on the plane. She makes out. She gets off. She goes, listen, I thought I was going to die. I didn't know. Do you forgive her?
No, she's in big trouble.
So what would be the thing you'd change in your life, though?
So sometimes I think, like in the moments like that, I'm like, if I make it out of this alive, I'm going to be an extrovert. I'm going to be comfortable in my own skin. Some people aren't comfortable in their own skin, right? So I'm like, why am I scared to do that? So
Well,
I'm
if my skin was as sweaty as yours, I would be uncomfortable as well.
very uncomfortable. But I've tried it before for a day to be an extrovert. It is very hard.
What does a forced extrovert look like? Like, is like you tell them more jokes and you like start the conversation?
It's like you or Max, how you guys are, but like fake version.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey, how's it going? How are you today? Yeah.
Why are you clenching your teeth?
It's that
Hey,
painful.
how's it going, buddy?
I hope you're all having fun.
I'm an extrovert.
Guys, today on the show, we have Jodie Whittaker.
First question for you, because I haven't actually seen the interview. I know it was a good time.
Yeah.
But I helped prepare the questions. Did you ask the Jodie Foster question?
I did.
Yes.
Yep. Actually, we opened with a question about Doctor Who, and then I got into the Jodie Foster question.
Because the Jodie Foster factoid that she was named after the actress Jodie Foster was on IMDb, and
Well, okay, this is
Sorry, you set it
this
up.
is a good way to set this up. So Max, as the producer, he'll have a list of questions. We'll go over them. We'll rearrange them. Sometimes I'll add some questions. All that. We get it to a place that we're happy with. Sometimes Max will have like things in there, like I was talking to the country star Dean Brody, and Max had in there, you know, you've become a very staunch vegan and vegetarian. When did you decide to do that? I asked the question, and he looks at me with this blank look, and he goes, no, I'm not.
did that?
And I go, oh, well, have you posted anything on my producer, right? And I'm just kind of like shuffling. I go, have you ever posted anything on Instagram?
What a hack job.
He goes, well, my girlfriend's kind of into it. I go, well, let's talk about that. And then so we go. So ever since that moment,
You just don't trust me.
I'm a little so when you said, hey, ask her about being named after Jodie Foster, we do a little call before I go to the interview. I go, hey, how sure are you about this Jodie Foster thing? So that when I ask, she's not like, what?
Yeah.
And he goes, hey, it'll be fine either way. If she's not, it's a good thing about how the internet has fake information. He goes, or it'll be great. And I go, okay, I'm going for it. It did get her in a different sort of mind space right away. She'd been answering a lot of Doctor Who questions. And so for our conversation, it was like, you know, let's go away from Doctor Who, at least in the beginning, get her nice and loose, and then have a wide-ranging conversation about her career in acting, as well as sort of the weight of playing such an iconic character.
I take big swings as the producer, okay? Sometimes they go, oh, great question. I haven't heard of that one before. And then sometimes they go, that's not real information at all. And they get mad at you, and you look like an idiot.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry.
Babe Ruth struck out more than any.
You're not puffed out of your Babe Ruth.
There you go.
But I appreciate it, and I think the conversation went great, and you prepped a lot of really great questions. And Jodie, as you will see, is an awesome hang. I loved hanging out with her. She's really, really great as the Doctor. Will you guys now watch Doctor Who? I know you guys make fun of me for my sci-fi leanings.
Yeah, I'll watch it. I'm an extrovert who likes Doctor Who.
All right, let's get to Jodie Whittaker. Okay, Mike, we're good. Okay, I'm gonna start rolling now.
Also, Kate.
For everybody watching this at home, there's like this whole group of people behind the cameras.
Who's chatting away?
Yeah. Well, I wanted to start basically with when this show premiered, it was like massive. Like massive. Like, did you expect it to be as big as it was?
I think the thing that's odd for me at this moment in time is having some kind of hindsight on it, because it's the build-up has been huge, from the reveal to shooting to you know, the very first time I was seen as the Doctor in the Christmas special, all that, and then now we are in the aftermath, and the aftermath isn't as dramatic as everyone feared, I think, when they first heard the Doctor was being played by a woman. But it's a huge relief just knowing that all this hard work and all this passion by an incredible cast and crew has A, been seen by people, and B, been as celebrated as you know, and received as passionately as we feel about it.
Well, I want to go back a bit to the start and just sort of your acting journey. First of all, is it true that you're named after Jodie Foster?
Oh, do you know what? How bloody hell? That's a good find, that. I've probably said that in some interview years and years ago when I was like 20. So at the time, my mum really wanted to call me Isabel, which is absolutely beautiful. But I think I can embrace that I'm not quite as beautiful as an Isabel.
Whatever the general standard for an Isabel.
Belle, you know, Belle.
Oh, okay,
in that sense, I was not a Belle as a kid. So my dad won, but I think I was 82. She was very famous at the time, and you know, was paving the way without me even realising, and so that was definitely an influence. And I think the other thing was there wasn't many Jodies in Huddersfield, so at the time. So if I meet her, we are a sisterhood.
You'll have something to talk about immediately.
Yeah, we will. Spelt the same.
Well, it was like sort of entertainment, television, movies. Was that super prevalent growing up?
I didn't have a massively exposed theatre background, just because I lived in, you know, a northern town. There's a town nearby called Bradford that has this theatre that's been going for years and years that's amazing, called the Alhambra. And so any musical would go there. So as a kid, you were like front row of Starlight Express, and it was the most amazing thing I'd ever seen, you know, and stuff like that. But my main influences were always basically VHS, because the films were not necessarily always coming to the movie theatre that I live near. And so I think the one thing I was lucky about, I think, you know, there's a requirement of parental guidance in what you let kids watch, and I completely appreciate that, and I was looked after. But my parents were really good at exposing me to really amazing cinema that, you know, when you see Jaws as a child, maybe I could have waited a few years, but as an epic piece of just, I don't know what it is. It's family drama. It's bordering on a horror film. It's
it's so much more than a thriller, though.
It's more that it cannot be identified in one genre statement, and because of that, and because of those influences, and also being an 80s baby, all the kind of cinema that reflected around groups of mates and kids that were the same age as me, doing things that I wanted to do. I played in the woods, like making voices and going on adventures, but theirs were real.
Yeah.
So.
Absolutely. When you go into something like you say you see the theater and you see people doing it, or even watching a movie, it's an abstract thing because you go, how can I do that as a career? When did you start to frame like, I want to do that?
I think, oh, do you know what? I think this is probably the first time I will have ever connected that, actually. So you got an exclusive here, mate.
Oh,
so
nice.
We had on tape the making of Thriller.
Oh.
So we had the VHS of it. So it wasn't just the music video, it was the behind the scenes, which took the fear out of it, thank God, because it's terrifying to watch as a kid. But it showed you the prosthetics. And I think for years, I always wanted to be an actor, but I was always like, I'm going to be a special effects makeup artist. Because I'd seen that, you know, like the process that all those people went through, and, you know, Michael Jackson in the video and the transformation, and it just, but showing the process that it took to get somewhere. It's not that common. We have an outlet now. We have social media of
you can see
behind the scenes. You can see the behind the scenes before you see the show. But something like that was quite rare. And I think I always knew it was a job. I was always transported. You know, you're watching ET, and I was on the bike, and you know, I was you know crying over the dying plant. You know, all those things.
My God, yeah.
But I think I just always had that sense, because of that it was a job for somebody, and it was never talked out of me. There was never a moment from either my mum or dad who said it's not a proper job. And you know, they don't know anything about it. They're not in the industry, and it's unreliable, not guaranteed.
Oh, the success rate's so low. Yeah, exactly.
You know, particularly for a girl at that time, and so. But never was that a ridiculous notion. It was just like, well, if you want to do that, do that.
That's what she wants to do.
Yeah.
So how do you make your way from like Yorkshire down to like London, where you're going to
on a
Guildhall?
train?
Yeah, practically, I just got on a train and went to. But I mean, are you?
No,
I guess my question is though, are you someone that's like naturally ambitious and driven?
It's a really, I think there needs to be a shift in the word ambitious, actually. I think I grew up in a period where saying you're ambitious was a bit of a dirty word, and it was a bit ugly. And I think I've maybe adopted that in a sense that I go, no, I was just really passionate. But yeah, I was ambitious, but I actually think I was just really naive in the sense that I had this really wonderful childhood, so I didn't have like a key experience that I had to grow up very quickly. I didn't have that. And so because of it, I was very lucky. So I had these exciting opportunities. Like I left school, I left formal education at 16 and stayed on to do 2 years of technical college, performing arts, purely to save money to go backpacking. And I said to my mum and dad, please, can I go backpacking at 18? They said, yeah. And I went. So, you know, all these things kind of happened. It was brilliant. It was a life education that you can't even comprehend you're having at 18. Yeah. But I have to say, you know, it always amazes me now when people ask, how do I get from there to there? And I think, oh my God, I got like across the world at 18. How do you not know? And now you've got Uber. You know, like it's not that hard. You know, and so I think I've just always been very independent, and I've always had a sense of adventure. So I think it was more that, and I got back, and my plan was, I'll go backpacking at 18, I'll work for a year, or I'll apply for drama school in London, because I love London, and that's where I want to live, and I'll get in and I'll go. And that's actually what happened, and it's not until afterwards you go, that was really jammy. And that's, you know, there was a lot of luck involved in that.
Well, I guess that would be my question. Is because, I mean, Doctor Who is like this sort of iconic role, and in a lot of ways, I think for an actor, it's like, wow, I'm set. This is this sort of magical thing. We're going to get to that in a bit. But along the way, and you had like many roles and sort of wins, I would suggest. Did you ever feel like, oh man, I don't think this is working out, or did you work steady sort of right away? I had like a bit of a chip on my shoulder for a bit when I first started working, just in the sense that, I don't know if a chip on my shoulder is the right term for it, but just I had a very sense that I had not earned it, because I left drama school and walked into a job at the Globe. Like I left early and I auditioned for this play, and it was Mark Rylance's last season at the Globe. So, you know, that's not a normal way into the industry in a comedy farce
in a company of extraordinary actors, all playful, and in the Globe Theatre, which for anyone who doesn't know, it's on the South Bank in London, and it's got no roof. The audience you can see everyone. The lighting is the sky.
So alive.
There's interaction with the audience. It's a really extraordinary thing to do out of drama school. But while I was in that play, I started to audition for Roger Michel's and Hanif Qureshi's film Venus, and I got it. And you don't walk into the head of a corporation underqualified, but you can walk into the lead in a film without necessarily the CV or the proof that you can do it.
Sure, the credits or the sort of show us what you've done.
Yeah, which is a wonderful thing, because we do have performances like Elliot in E.T., and we have, no one's saying, well, you're a pop singer, born, like A Star Is Born, you can do this. And then we get these incredible performances from people because it's what you can bring to a role. But as the individual at 23, you're going, I don't know if I can do this, opposite Peter O'Toole, and I've not really been on set. So that mark on the floor, I just keep missing it, because I didn't quite realise you've got to stop at it, or when you do, you're not really supposed to look down and go... Right? You've got to carry on the scene. Or when, the camera's behind you, I kept moving out the way. They're like, no, it's a dirty shot. It's supposed to have you in it.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I thought I was in the way. So there is that terrible realisation when you're on set with Peter O'Toole and Vanessa Redgraves and Leslie Phillips and, Richard Griffiths, that you are woefully underqualified to be there. But it was an extraordinary experience, and Roger Michel and everyone involved gave me the space to bring what I brought to the audition, and it worked. But because of that, I missed a whole section of essentially earning my right to be somewhere.
Interesting.
I missed the
grinding it out, struggling years.
Out.
Yeah.
I feel like I've grinded it out, and I feel also, I've gone into a lot of auditions that I've not got, but I was in those rooms in the first place because of that opportunity that early on. And, and I got to give credit to the fact that without that, I wouldn't have necessarily been seen for these other things. Obviously, you have to be good enough to get the job or bring something that they like to the role, but getting in the room is the hardest bit, and actually that's where I feel that I can never underestimate what Venus did for me. And then I just seemed to work. But a lot of the time it was funny because I did so many British indies that I'm really so proud of now. But they don't have a massive audience. But for some people it was like, oh, you haven't really worked, have you, since Venus? I was like, are you kidding? I'm not like my 17th film that has a £5 budget. How do you not know about this? I've been in a field for 8 weeks crying. So I think there was I've continually worked, and I've not had those stresses, but I've also had the jobs that people have heard of, and then the work that has less of an audience. And hopefully now those people see those things because they know who I am.
They'll go back now. Yeah, absolutely. I think in order to be an actor, anyone in the creative arts, whether you're a musician or whatever, it's like you have to sort of push through this natural inclination that's like, what if I fail?
Yeah.
And it's like you have to push through it. Is that something that's been difficult for you as a creative, or are you like, I'm just going to go for it, and what's the worst that could happen?
Well, I think I'm not a very self-conscious person, and I think it helped kind of being one of not the class clown, but I was at school. I found my voice not in the academic side of school, but in the banter and the friendship groups and the things you could achieve as, a group of kids, hanging out and playing sport and being in drama club and things like that. But I was always all right with standing up in front of people because I didn't really have this huge, cool reputation to maintain. I was just a bit...
Like you have nothing to lose.
Oh, I was just like, oh, it's her again. I was like, hiya! I didn't have that kind of third eye. And I think I've been lucky because, the kind of roles I've played, I've not been particularly put on a pedestal in any way that restricts you to an idea that you are something. And so because of that, I've just been given the opportunity to try new stuff. But that's down to often the writing and the directing. I love getting notes. So as soon as I can walk in and be completely wrong, but as long as you can take the notes, and I love getting direction. So I think it's just the fact that I quite like being a bit of a sponge. And so that's why I've been in a position where it's been a safe space to try stuff and you're not hung out to dry for it, or you're not ridiculed for it.
Well, with like your wide sort of variety of roles, like you said, does your preparation stay the same for everything, or do you change for different roles?
I think there's a natural adaptation for each role, but I do the same thing on everything, which is a very simple thing but takes ages. But for my approach on a screenplay, because obviously with the screenplay or television, you shoot out of sequence. The thing that I do on the back of my script, which is on every single one, is I write the scene in a way that I'll say, for example, something like in Broadchurch playing Beth Latimer, it'll say, scene 1, but it's my scene 1. It's not scene 1 in the show. So it's scene 1, wakes early, exhausted, realises you're running late, kind of thing. So that it's my emotional journey throughout. So that if I'm playing my scene 50 on day 2, I can remind myself emotionally what I've gone through to get to there. Emotionally and physically, as if, someone, like the Doctor, it could be, her run through an epic landscape and are exhausted by the journey. But it's not, but it just is a continual reminder of what you are supposed to know, but more importantly, what you don't know. Because it's really hard as an actor to know an entire script and to not play what you know is the outcome. And so that's a kind of technical thing I do. But my main thing as an actor is I don't like to decide before I have heard the space. Because for me, the most exciting thing is discovering how another actor or another creature in this instance or a location can affect that moment. And if I've decided how I'm going to do it, I just don't see what were the point of them guys turning up and learning the lines for me? Because and the wonderful thing is you change, they'll get a note, they'll change the way they do it. It's the ping pong.
It becomes more organic that way instead of just going in and performing it.
Yeah, I mean, with the Doctor, there's a bit more. There's a choreography that I've never encountered before with a role, but it's really actually quite freeing because there is this emotional engagement and this conversation that you're having, quite rapid often, with the Doctor.
Well, with the Doctor, because it's this iconic role and it means so much to so many people, when you find out you've got it, how does that differ from the other 30 calls you've gotten in your career where it's like, you got the role?
I think it's not necessarily, it's a weird one because I've been incredibly emotional and bowled over and devastated by not getting a role, as well as, the other way you get it. And it isn't that it's not that this means more, it's that it means something to people other than me. Me getting a role before never really affected anybody else, apart from obviously the other great actors that went in for it and were getting that kind of crap call to say they didn't get it. But it had no effect on the outside because most people would then see you in that role and not question you. Whereas the thing about the Doctor is that that this decision affects the history of the show, the future of the show, regardless of my gender, just being the actor playing it.
Of course. And
your life forever, because it's a wonderful family to be a part of. But the great thing is you're never kicked out. But that is also a thing to know that to a certain group of people, you're always the Doctor. And that's great, but you know that then that might mean that your quiet cup of tea in the local cafe might be a little bit different.
Sure.
That's the difference. It's not. The wonderful thing about this role is that it's so mercurial, and as an actor, it challenges you in so many ways. But I have found every role to be challenging. I just have never had such a big audience for that challenge before I've even got on set. I think is the major difference.
Well, fandom in and of itself is sort of this evolving, spectacular, sort of unknowable beast, which is interesting. And I'm a fan of science fiction, Star Trek, Doctor Who as well. But like we're both the same age, and like we didn't grow up with the internet the way that it is now.
No.
Are you somebody who's like, now that you are a part of this sort of thing that is beloved and widely known, are you on the internet looking at these things? Are you apart from it? Or have you prepared yourself for this journey that you're going on?
Well, I missed the boat with social media because I didn't join Facebook, and I think for people our age, Facebook was that starting off point in the sense that, you know, it happened and then suddenly everyone started doing it. And I think it was just the fact at the time I didn't have a laptop, so it was just a bit pointless, and phones weren't that good in that time, so it was like, it wasn't on your phone. It was just a bit, and also I'm in touch with all my best mates, and I know what their families look like, so it was a bit like, oh, there's my brother. Like, with me, I was there. I kind of found it, this thing, it just wasn't necessarily, I kind of missed it. And then when I thought, oh, that'd be nice, actually, I then thought, oh, no, I think maybe I might be befriended now because I was in that. So then I thought, oh, I won't do it. So then, there is not the natural leap to go, Twitter, here I come. Sure. You know, like, that progression didn't happen for me. So I'm not on it. It has its pluses and minuses. I think social media is incredibly empowering and gives voice to things that need a voice. I also think, as me as an individual, I just don't need to know all that opinion about myself because really, it's not that it doesn't matter, but there's nothing I can do with it. And so I know it's a part of every job now. And I know it's a part of our future and people, you know, people's children's future and things like that. But I think the best thing for me to do is not to deny that it's happening, but to just only take. It's not to filter it, but to take the bits that aren't detrimental to my approach or my mental health.
Yep.
And but without social media, I wouldn't have known all these incredible people were so excited.
And feel the love, the other side of it, which is like this brilliant thing.
Which is brilliant and also connects people. Like, I didn't build up 55 years of history with Doctor Who. You know, this show's been going and they've earned that, and these fans that are still the fans, they're the ones that carry it on. And actually, the fact that you get to see how much, like how far spread that is extraordinary, because, you know, you'd know it was outside of the UK, it had a fan base outside of the UK, but I think without the internet, you couldn't really appreciate that.
Sure. Well, thank you so much for your time today.
No worries.
Much appreciated.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. I know we're talking to the whole crowd of people behind you.
Thank you, Kate, for keeping quiet throughout.
That was Jodie Whittaker, and this is The Dessert. This is everybody's favorite part of our podcast, and now I hope also the TV show. Like we do on every dessert, we just hand the keys over to our pop culture aficionado, Shane Cunningham, and we have no idea what is about to happen.
Well, you have some idea. We have a
little bit. There's a little bit of rehearsal that went on. Yeah, no, I don't want to lie to the people.
But yeah, this is a complicated one. This one's a little weirder. Normally, I throw to a digital dessert that's a pre-taped bit. It's going to be a little different today. I'm not sure about the shot, what you're seeing, but you may notice there is someone in the background, a child actor. It all started with a message from Max Kerman.
Oh. I've heard of him.
And he told me that I had the opportunity to do 4 digital desserts in one day. One of the people was Jakob Tremblay.
He's a kid, he's from Canada.
So I was very excited. I was a big fan of the movie Room, and that interview got shut down. And you want to make something very clear.
Okay, I want to make something clear. Jakob does a ton of press, I'm sure. And if somebody from the organizing event goes, that one's canceled, they go, okay, good, because that was going to be, 15 minutes of my time anyway. So this has nothing to do with Jakob Tremblay.
I agree.
Or his willingness to do this segment. It probably only had to do with the organizers of the event.
Point is, I was really hung up on this Jakob Tremblay bit.
Because you were excited about the bit.
Digital desserts get a bad rap. And I was out...
In your mind, like, it's not like people are talking about it.
You're right. People aren't even watching them. That's how bad the rap is.
It's a bad rap.
I put out a nationwide search for a Jakob Tremblay impersonator.
Because you wouldn't be deterred.
I would not be deterred.
Because you wanted to execute the bit.
You wrote the bit. The world needed to see it.
Well, you were the spokesperson for the nationwide search.
It's true.
Do you have a child between the ages of 9 and 11 who gives off a Jakob Tremblay vibe?
The point is, the Jakob Tremblay impersonator is here. It was picked out of 13 potential candidates.
Ooh.
I narrowed it down, and I think she was the best girl for the job.
Best person for the job? Best kid for the job?
Best kid for the job.
Yeah.
We didn't limit it to race or gender.
All races and genders welcome.
And she's here today. And if you'll humor me, I will perform this digital dessert live to tape, I guess it's called.
Wow.
This is very exciting because she's been sitting back there. I feel bad. I feel like we need to give her some candy or like a sandwich or something.
She's not depressed, by the way.
Okay.
We told her to be in this pose to create an air of mystery.
Okay.
She's a method actor.
Yeah.
So what's the plan here?
She's going to take your seat.
Okay.
Max, you're going to take your chair. Both of you are going to boogie on out of here.
Okay.
Wow.
And we're going to begin, and we're going to see how this goes.
And also, I want to say, if Jacob is watching, you're invited to come on the show and do the bit yourself, because that's what we ultimately want, and we are only fans of your work, and we only have love for your career and what the hell you're doing.
But today we are happy to have this actor.
Yeah.
And I think I'm very glad, we're all glad to concede the stage. Should we bring her on?
Yes.
Okay.
Jacob?
Make sure you're good and comfy. Take my stuff so you're all set up. You good? You good.
Hi, my name is Shane, and this is Shane's Digital Dessert. Today we are with the one, the only, Jakob Tremblay. You probably know him from movies like Room, Wonder?
Yeah.
Yeah, and Predator, of course. Jacob, I'm in awe of you.
Thank you.
You may not know this, but I wanted to be a child actor.
You did?
Do you know what they told me?
What?
They said, you're too old, Shane. Said, you gotta shave the mustache. So there's one thing I hate, it's prejudice. That's a word. You may laugh in the back, Max, but that's a word. I hate ageism, so I auditioned for the movie Room.
You did?
Would you like to see it?
Well,
Will you just watch it, Jacob?
okay.
Okay. Tell me what you think.
Okay.
Shane Cunningham, Star Agency, Room. Let me out of the room. Let me out. I hate the room. Oh, I hate this freaking room. Oh, Mom, do we have to stay in the freaking room forever? I don't like it here. Thank you.
Wow. That was great.
When did your parents notice you started laying golden eggs?
When I was little, I was like being the characters on TV, and they were like, you're pretty good at this acting thing. And so they went along and signed me up.
Did they start making cash register noises?
Sorta.
Like cha-ching?
Yeah.
You're very famous, you're a very accomplished actor, you're making a lot of money. How does that work with allowance? And how much money do you pay your parents?
I pay them probably $10 a week.
That's pretty cheap, Jacob.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cheap. How does it work with chores? If your parents are like, Jacob, clean your room. Are you like, room? I was in room. You clean it.
Well, I usually say, okay, but like, I know it's not fun, but I want to just get it done so then I can go in my room and lie down and say, my room's clean. Good thing I cleaned it.
Yeah, not the best story I've ever heard, Jacob, but brass tacks. How much are you making per film? This is just a blunt show. Give it to me straight.
Like $500?
Okay, you might want a new manager or agent, because that is not a lot. I wanted to show you a picture and see if you could tell me who this is. We may need to blur this. I don't know laws or anything.
No, I don't know who that is.
Famous actress. That is Lindsay Lohan.
Oh. Yeah, I know her.
Yeah. What advice would you give to Lindsay?
Well, I like her as a person.
Not advice, but
I think she should just keep on following her dreams.
she got caught up in the bright lights and she got addicted to smoking, and it kind of ruined her career. She flamed out.
Yeah. I'd say, don't smoke.
I agree, don't smoke. I'm kind of like how I think your parents were. I want to force my child into acting, but I'm very worried that a lot of actors smoke. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
And it makes you age, and, you know, the results speak for themselves. So I was wondering if you would help me out. You're a very famous actor. You're the real Jakob Tremblay. Would you do an anti-smoking PSA for me?
Well, I've got to ask my manager.
Manager, you're only making $500 a flick. You could do it. This is for my daughter. You want her to get addicted to cigarettes?
Not at all.
Oh, I bet you would like that, actually, Jacob.
No.
Oh,
no.
yeah, you would. One less actor off the street for you to worry about. Your precious audition.
Okay,
One
fine,
actor.
I'll do it.
That was easy. I'm gonna hand you a cigarette. This better be good. Lights, please.
Thanks.
We got a cue card there.
Hi, I'm award-winning child actor Jakob Tremblay, and this is a cigarette, a ciggy, a nixstick. It isn't glamorous or cool or kid stuff. It's more addictive than ice cream or making more money than your parents. And it can kill you. Look, everyone wants to be cool. That's it. Turn the page.
Oh, yeah, next page.
Look, everyone wants to be cool, but doing it with a lung dart isn't just wrong. It could be dead wrong. If you don't believe me, ask my friend Shane. He's only 14.
I'm aging terribly.
Cigarettes. Don't play that game.
Lights up, please. Do you know how many lives you just saved?
No.
A ton. Thank you so much, Jakob. That was a
No
great interview.
problem.
And how I like to end the show is we just kind of dance off.
Okay.
You're cool with that?
Yep.
All right, well, that was Shane's Digital Dessert. Thank you for watching. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll add music in post, okay?
That was very good. That's it. That's all. That's our episode. Thank you to Jodie Whittaker, and thank you so much to Mia Rose Parnaby. You were an amazing Jacob.
Thank you.
Yeah, what's your resume include? What other productions have you been a part of?
Well, I did one for this Earth Rangers commercial.
Oh.
They're doing a Desjardins baseball
I was
one.
just thinking like a school play, but you're
a
actually
pro.
quite big time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I did this voiceover thing
Ah.
for a baby doll.
Mia
Rose Parnaby.
Parnaby.
Yeah.
That sounds like a very fancy British actress's name.
Thank you.
Yeah, I like it. You have a bright future ahead of you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on. You were amazing. We really appreciate your time.
No problem.
Yeah.
I did say that when we interviewed Jacob that we should get him a mic on my chat because I think he would love that hat, but we should give it to Mia instead.
Okay.
Shane?
So I'm going to do it. Here's how Max, I think, envisioned it playing out. Hey, Jacob, great job.
Thank you. A Micah Much hat? Thanks, mister.
Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you again to Mia Rose Parnaby. Thank you to Shane. Thank you to Max. Thank you to Jodie Whittaker. That's it. That's all. That's our episode. See you next week if we don't die on the weekend.
And don't smoke.
Don't smoke.